Here is the 2024 Kia EV9 Land Long Range in snow white pearl over gray interior. This is getting up to 280-mile range, charging on a level 2 at 14.5 hours, reaching 60 as low as 4.5 seconds with boost engage. Did Kia make the best EV SUV? I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to touch bases on some pros and cons and the problem that I have with the EV9. When you get into the Land, it's changing the projected LED headlights into these cubed LED headlights, daytime runnings. You get the digital lighting on the grille, which is standard on the GT line. It will have its own design for the front and rear bumpers. The light bar that goes underneath the Kia badging, active grille shutter, front and rear parking sensors with the satin aluminum on the lower, and your clearance increases to 7.8 inches when you're on the Land and on the GT line. Base trims will be at 7 inches. Gloss black will be on the flared out fenders, and trims underneath the Land will only have the matte black as well as 19-inch wheels. The Land gets a 20-inch wheel. The GT line gets a 21-inch wheel. And to go into the front, you can just go here, push this button twice, and it's going to unlock the front trunk, which is going to give us an extra increase of 1.8 cubic feet of storage, which is 1.4 cubic feet less than the base trims with the soft close. In performance, we got the 99.8 kilowatt lithium ion battery pack paired with a dual motor all-wheel drive system, producing 379 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. And with boost engage, this can get up to 516 pound-feet of torque, achieving 91 mpges for the city, 75 mpges for the highway. When you tick the box to the Land, you're getting 10 more mile range, and both vehicles can go up to a 800 watt DC fast charger. And when you do the 350 DC charger, 10 to 100%, you're at 24 minutes, which is not too bad, but comparing it against a combustion engine, that's going to take about 5 minutes to get full range. Whereas here, you don't want to use the DC charger so much. You want to kind of use your home plugs a little bit more so that way you get a little bit better longevity out of the battery. And now for the 21st century technology, which Kia, Hyundai, and Genesis brings us. It's the smart auto parking, in which I'm not going to be able to fully demonstrate this because the range is a little low on the vehicle. But what you do is you lock the vehicle, and then you'll auto start the vehicle. And then you can move the vehicle forward and backwards. And Kia goes the extra step, giving us a independent McPherson multi-link front suspension with a 5-link independent rear suspension, and we have the rear self-leveling suspension with the tow hook, so we could tow up to 5,000 pounds. Otherwise, it's 3,500 pounds. The problem that I have with the Land on the EV9 is you're a few grand less than the GT line, and you're losing a lot of performance. I get it. You're gaining 10-mile range and a little bit better on your MPGEs. But when I'm at over 70 grand, the GT line is just under $80,000. It kind of doesn't make this a sweet spot, even though you're getting some of the standard amenities that you would be getting on the GT line. Standard LED taillights, rear parking sensors, a reverse camera. The satin aluminum is going to brush on the lower with the gloss black elements. Digital rear view mirror, and the windshield wiper, it's tucked underneath the lower roof spoiler, so it keeps a more sporty and cleaned up design in the rear. Power liftgate is standard on all trims, starting at 20.2 cubic feet of storage behind the third row. Because it does have nearly 8 inches of clearance, the back sits up a little bit higher, but it's still a flat loading with a 12 volt. If you want to open it from inside, open that, and you can just hold it and it'll open or close the tailgate. With a home plug underneath the floor, it's a little bit of storage. And to split fold the third row at a 50-50, just pull these little levers here. That's going to increase cargo to 43.5 cubic feet. Push these buttons here, and that will fold down those captain seats, maxing cargo to 81.7 cubic feet. 16-way power seat adjustment, heated, ventilated. When you go to the GT line, you're going to get 2 more power seat adjustment and ergo motion. The passenger gets 10-way power seat adjustment, memory for the driver. Headroom and legroom. The GT line adds the stainless steel sport pedals. It's the only trim that you can get it. The Land is definitely going to be a sweet spot vehicle. You will not receive the heads-up display, but you get the Meridian sound system, which is 14 speakers opposed to the standard 8. You get the digital rear view mirror, so you're getting some of the same features as the GT line. A 12.3 infotainment screen with wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio, physical buttons here that you can push, so when you go into the home, you can slide over. We get the passenger talk, Kia Connect, go into the setup here, and this is all the configuration for the vehicle. So you can do the layout for the screen on the driver's side for the digital gauge cluster, that's a 12.3. You can do for the split screen, so you can change anything there if you wanted to add the map or whatever. And you can also change the screen saver if you want the clock. A cool feature when you go into the vehicle, you can go into the active sound, and here you can actually turn up and down or turn it completely off, which I'm going to have it on the largest charge sound so you can hear it in the drive. You can also configure different things for your brakes and for the trailer. Switch it into reverse, and we got a 360-degree reverse camera, full trajectory for the front and the rear. Push this, and we got 3D, which you can go all around the vehicle. Go back here, and you can change different camera layouts to make it easy for towing or reversing, getting into a tight parking, or just leave it simplified as the 360-degree reverse camera with the 3D view. Tri-climate control is standard with this 5-inch digital reader. You can expand it out to make it a little bit easier for the passenger, but I like that it's a little bit more so for the driver, and to turn on and off the sound system. The digital gauge reader can go through an array of information for the driver, including turn-by-turn navigation. When you use the indicators, whether you're left or right, you will see the camera in the gauge cluster. Syntec wrap steering wheel. It is a 4-spoke. I like that we get the driver modes right here because you could do every single thing quick and easy. And as you're noticing, when I push it, it's changing how many miles I have left. It's multi-function. The paddle shifts are for the regenerative braking. The stocks get the gloss black elements, and the gear lever is now on the steering column, and that's how you start the vehicle. This is also electric tilt for up and down and forward and backwards, and heated, which the switch is right here. In the center, you're going to get USB ports. Open this up, and it's a 12 volt, the same thing like the Hyundais. Slide this, and you got a huge storage pocket that holds the EV9 key fob. When you open that up, you now have cup holders. A full pass-through here. Wireless charging pad, auto hold. It's soft to touch. It opens up to a little bit of storage. The door panel and the dashboard more or less configuring together, and it's going to be sporty and soft with one touch up and down for all the windows, and a medium-sized storage pocket with a flask or long beverage holder. For the second row, you sit up a little bit higher. Headroom is not bad, nor is leg space, and you can adjust these forward because it's manual. You can adjust these backwards. I would say about here is where everybody can fit, with storage behind both of the front seats, USB ports, cup holders in the center, and you can adjust this forward. And I like how these headrests in the front are breathable. As you can see, it's just a thin material. This folds out as a little tray with a light. You can fold this completely out, and you have a tray that opens up into a storage box. This tray can slide out even more. Manual sunshades. Third climate control with the air vents in the ceiling. If you want the cloth headliner, you got to go to the GT line. It's going to be the same materials found in the front, and you get the ambient lighting that's throughout the cabin in this and the GT line. Storage is going to be a little bit smaller with the beverage holder carved out, and because these are captain seats, you can also recline them all the way back, and you can adjust this down, and these are heated and ventilated second row seats. Entering to the third row, push the button, it's going to slide forward to fit 2 more in the back with cup holders on both sides and a USB port, a large window, air vents in the ceiling. LED interior lights with the seat back. There's no way somebody that's 6'3" could fit. With it back where we could both sit, I actually have some knee space. The rails are pushed back, but you have plenty of feet space, and it kind of makes a little wall right here. Headroom is not that bad either, and these seats recline, as soon as I find the lever, all the way back to give more headroom and to sit upright. That's going to be the headroom. So it is doable for somebody that's 6'3". 379 horsepower with 443 pound-feet of torque, option up to 516 pound-feet of torque. And listen to the noise that filters in. Now you can turn this lower and you can turn it completely off, which I have another review that I have reviewed the GT line and I had it off the whole time. It's a little bit more futuristic than my liking, but just for review purposes, we'll leave it on for a little bit so you can see how loud it actually gets inside the cabin. We have it in sport mode. Give her a little go. It's kind of like a video game, but then it just becomes silent. The road noise filters in a little bit more so in the Land. Sound deadening will be the best on the GT line, and when you're at these prices, meaning you're just a few grand off, because we have added the rear self-leveling suspension and the tow, it might be something that you want to consider, because for a longer drive, the one that I actually featured had the lounge in the back where it's more relaxed. I think it's called the Relax package actually, but it's like a lazy boy. Plus you get the Ergo Motion seats. It's the only trim that you get that in as well. Heads-up display. I like that we get the Meridian sound system, but the sweet spot really would be the wind, because you can get all of these features in that, plus you'll get more range and a savings. As soon as the light turns green, show you some of the performance underneath this EV9. There we go. It gets up to speed quick. It's instant, and that's EVs for you. It's going to take me to some pros and cons. Starting with the pros is the value that you're getting is pretty good considering all the plush amenities. The con is you can't get any leather in any of the trims. It's all Syntec upholstery, but it's breathable, especially these headrests, because it's a thinner cloth, which if you're sweating, because it's hot in Florida, it breathes a lot nicer. Another con is you have to go to the GT line in order to get the Ergo Motion, and in both the Land and the GT line, you're losing power seat adjustment when you go for the passenger side. Plus you can't even option an Ergo Motion for the passenger. I like that the ground clearance increases to 7.8 inches on the Land. You're also getting a little bit better range, better MPGEs. Charging times isn't too bad. On a DC 350 watt, you're getting 24 minutes from 10 to 100%. But if you want to use a home plug, forget about it. Over 80 hours. And even using a level 2, you're at 14.5 hours. I wish I could sleep 14.5 hours, but then in the same category, I think it would be a con, because I actually like to get things done. And there's no way I'm gonna have my vehicle charged that long, because I use the vehicle every single day. There's a lot of electronics in this vehicle, which can be a pro or a con, because it uses your range. The seats are still comfortable, but it's going to be a little bit more plush when you get into the GT line. Storage, you have plenty of them. Charging ports, they knock it out of the ballpark. And performance, I mean, it's just a fun, playful vehicle. And yes, I said playful. Turn radius, it's going to get about 3 lanes. Let's rock and roll. You know, because the sound deadening isn't as good as the GT line, I probably would leave that futuristic sound in the cabin so it kind of blocks off the road noise. The suspension itself holds itself well. Visibility is good, plus if you use the indicators, which you should, it's not a feature that you got to option, it's standard. You can see it on the gauge cluster. And when you're thinking about comparable rivals like Tesla, you're going to be spending base price to get the Land all-wheel drive long range. The 0 to 60 will be at least 2 to 3 seconds quicker, but then when you're thinking about a family vehicle, most people, even if you option with the Plaid, it's going to be over 100 grand. And you only use it here and there because this is not that type of vehicle. You're not going to take this on the track. It's not going to be a vehicle you can just have fun with cornering. They're heavy vehicles. It tops to over 5,800 pounds curb weight, which is a con if you're a business owner because you can't write off the full vehicle value, but you'll still get, hopefully, the tax credit if you live in North America. And safety amenities just go a little bit above and beyond because the whole front is taken care of with cyclists, pedestrian detection, side collision, rear cross traffic alert. The adaptive cruise control on this thing alone can go nearly 2 miles without you being engaged. If you're on the highway, you could probably go even further. It's one of the best in class. And when I'm thinking it's a Kia, they're going against luxury lines like the Mercedes EQS, which that vehicle gets about the same range with the adaptive cruise control and the lane keep assist. Now, I know you could get that hyper screen, which is awesome. And I've reviewed the vehicle. Really cool, over 50 inches of screens, but you're talking 140 grand. You could buy his and her for this. Going to Toyota and Honda, they don't have something that's comparable. Nissan, you got the Aria, awesome vehicle. They have some cool things in the interior that make it stand out of class, but you're at 60 to 70 grand and you're still not getting a 6-passenger to 7-passenger layout. It drives similar to a sedan. It feels wide, but it doesn't really feel that long, especially with the digital rear view mirror and all the power that you have in this vehicle, because it's instant whenever you push the throttle. If you use the paddle shifts, I mean, my God, it will definitely use that regenerative braking to the full extent. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4 levels. So max is basically stopping the vehicle. 3, same thing. 2 is kind of for the everyday. And you get that futuristic soundtrack that comes in. I like that you can turn the regenerative braking off, but because it's a full electric vehicle, I would probably use it a little bit more so. And that takes me to the big problem. They've already had an ICCU recall, which can malfunction things in the vehicle pretty severely. And when you go for charging, the door, it takes forever to open. Sometimes it gets locked and you can't get it out from the charging. This is a vehicle that is definitely a home run for a family when it comes to an SUV EV. And I mean, you can tow with this vehicle up to 5,000 pounds, but whenever you do that, you're also going to lose a significant amount of range. So there's a few things that they have to tweak to make it just a little bit better, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like. And I'd like to thank Regal Kia for giving us this 2024 Kia EV9 Land long range all-wheel drive for our car review.